a seat and our councillors to take a seat. We'll begin the meeting in 1 minute. On va commencer la réunion dans 1 minute. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, et bienvenue à la Conseil municipal pour la Ville d'Ottawa pour le 10 octobre 2018. Welcome to City Council for the 10th of October 2018. For those who are able to, could you please rise for a moment of personal reflection and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem.
Ready? Oh, Canada, am I ready? Oh, shit, sorry. 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 You said ready.
All right, strike that from the record.
Excuse me.
Tammy, you're so keen. We're still reflecting. We need a moment.
Let's go.
All right, so back to the moment of reflection. Remain standing, and we'll ask Councillor Shirelli to introduce our very special guest, who we've heard from before, to sing the national anthem.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tammy, a native of Ottawa and a longtime resident of College Ward. She's a former Miss Ottawa Rough Rider, lived in LA for 11 years, where she performed the anthem for the LA Kings and the LA Dodgers, and has sung for the Toronto Blue Jays and the Ottawa Senators. Now, back in College Ward, living in the City View community, she's an award-winning realtor with Royal LePage Team Realty and is the proud daughter of 2014 Ottawa Sports Hall of Fame inductee Ed Laverty, a builder of sport and community for over 50 years. On September 30th, 2018, Tammy's family was proud to stand alongside Councillor Brockington to unveil the plaque and boulder at McCarthy Park Fields, now officially called Ed Laverty Fields, in her father's memory.
Now can I go? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Quand ton bras sait porter le pays, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Tammy. It's now an honor to invite Kathy Wilcox to the podium for this Council City Builder Award. Welcome, Kathy, and you have lots of family and friends here to support you, which is great. And your councillor, Keith Egli, the councillor for Knoxdale-Maryville, is going to join us. There's Keith, there he is. Je tiens à souhaiter la bienvenue à la famille et aux
I'm pleased to welcome the City Councillor for Knoxdale-Maryville Ward.
Of Kathy, who are here with us today. Kathy Wilcox brings the joy of learning to play a musical instrument and performing to members of our community, and is recognized for her contributions to Ottawa through music and outreach. In 2008, she started the Ottawa New Horizons Band as an outreach program with Dominion Chalmers Church. The program started with 35 adults who had little or no musical ability and were given the opportunity to learn to play a musical instrument. The Ottawa New Horizons Band has grown to include over 200 members and 8 bands. And over the past 10 years, the program has directly enriched the lives of more than 700 current and past members. It is now a non-profit corporation that operates with an annual budget of almost $100,000, thanks to Kathy's dedication and leadership. Each year, through concerts and performances, Kathy and the Ottawa New Horizons Band raises money for organizations such as Orchestra and the Canadian Guide Dogs for the Blind. Kathy is responsible for identifying, recruiting, and mentoring band leaders, organizing concerts, purchasing instruments, securing rehearsal space, and organizing get-togethers. You're very busy with the bands. Many participants are seniors who appreciate that band rehearsals and performances provide them with a rewarding, fun, and social activity. Kathy encourages and inspires members and is known to visit ill or stressed members who may need food, support, or companionship. And Kathy makes a wonderful difference in the community. It's my honor, in front of your family and friends and Councillor Eglai, to present you with the Mayor's City Builder Award. This is the award, Kathy, that recognizes people who have demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to their community through volunteerism. J'ai l'honneur de souligner les contributions.
This award recognizes people who have demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to making our city a better place today.
Come on up in the middle here and we'll take a picture.
Thank you, Mayor Watson. I wish my notes were written in this font, but I brought my glasses just in case I need to use them. I feel deeply honored to be receiving this Community Builder Award. I'm also humbled because I know and admire many Ottawa citizens who contribute to making the world a better place each and every day, and many of them are sitting in this hall today. And before I thank those who are present, there are some who I want to mention that are not here. In my youth, my world was made better by a friend of my grandmother's, a music teacher, Mrs. Meakin. She took me under her wing when my grandmother passed away at the age of 57, and she taught me so much more than piano. She taught me music theory, history, and harmony, of course, but also cursive writing, to be respectful, to be responsible for my learning, to listen. And she gave me a wonderful gift, the gift of music, appreciating music more deeply. And she set me on the course to becoming a music teacher and sharing that gift with my students. So for 32 years, I shared them with 4 to 14-year-olds, and I learned firsthand the power of the arts and music in particular to reach people when words fail, to soothe and inspire and encourage. And yet, the arts remain underfunded and undervalued in schools. My mom, Shirley, was a teacher. I remember her today for supporting me through hours of piano practice and for encouraging me in my career. And my dad, Jim Outram, couldn't be here in person, but I thank him for his extraordinary caring of others and for inspiring me to check out New Horizons on the website. I, along with thousands of adult musicians, recognize the leadership of Professor Roy Ernst of the Eastman School of Music. He started a small band of music or band class for adults, and soon it spread, and now it is known as the New Horizons International Music Association, with over 300 associate groups throughout North America and the world. This organization provides guidance for any music teacher who would like to start a music program for adult learners. And Roy was such an inspiration. He even came to Ottawa, and he met with me in 2009, and he shared words of wisdom and encouragement, including the philosophy of the New Horizons Band. This is your part. Your best. Yes, your best is good enough. I didn't hear everybody. Making the world a better place translated, of course, to caring for others, especially in your own community. The Ottawa New Horizons Band started out as an outreach program, as Mayor Watson alluded to, at Dominion Chalmers United Church. And as a member of this faith community who shares their passion in music, I proposed the New Horizons Band to bring people together who enjoy music and would like to learn to play. A flute, oboe, clarinet. If I forget any instruments, they'll all hate me. But just concert band instruments. And Reverend James Murray, Daphne Picklick, and Peter Fisher were absolutely instrumental, sorry for the pun, in the success of the first 9 years of the program. Reverend Murray even devoted a whole service on music as food for the soul. And he invited musicians like Dr. Harold Beach, who was 96 at the time, to share their experiences. And in April of this year, Reverend Murray preached a sermon called The Drum Major Instinct, which made me sit at attention. And this sermon commemorated the 50th anniversary of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And the incredible thing is that the Drum Major Instinct was written and preached by his great uncle, Dr. James Hamilton Murray, in 1952. And like all good stories, it was borrowed by the Reverend Dr. King. Only 2 months before his assassination, he preached it in his home church. And I encourage you to get a copy of that sermon and read it. Each of us has the potential to lead through service in our areas of strength and passion and to make a positive impact in the world. My husband has made such an impact, whether he realizes it or not. As a music teacher, a colleague from North Bay once said to me, she said, music teachers' spouses get a direct pass to heaven. And Wayne is a rock. He supported me through music projects, including the New Horizons Band through the past 10 years. And he's made artistic programs for concerts, made me a quick dinner as I ran out the door, and helped me load lots of stuff in the car. So thank you, sweetie. And present today is a pillar of our society, or a pillar of volunteerism here in Ottawa, a huge influence in my life and the lives of many, Mr. Harold Pretty. Harold volunteered thousands and thousands of hours over the course of 20-plus years in public schools, in the music room, and in many different classrooms, including mine. He was organizing music, repairing instruments, and working with groups of children, not only teaching them music, but also the same values and skills that my music teacher taught me. Hard work, persistence, focus, hope, and punctuality. I knew that would get a laugh. He's amazed I'm here on time today. His work as an RCMP officer and tuba player in the RCMP band undoubtedly left a mark, but Harold's contribution in retirement has made an enormous impact on the lives of many, many people, including mine. There are many here who inspire me with their leadership and have influenced the Ottawa New Horizons Band. From my Dominion Chalmers friends, Reverend James, Daphne Picklick, Peter Fisher, and fellow board member David Chaplin, I've learned that true leaders are great listeners and also great doers who show respect for all. In our ONHB webmaster, Jody, and all our band leaders, I admire a deep sense of commitment, concise and positive communication, and caring, which makes our members so happy. My esteemed colleagues on the board, I have incredible respect for the care and skill which you do so many of your complex tasks. Hours and hours of service given each month to provide meaningful and musical experience for all our members. In Jacqueline and Doug and their music library team, I see willing service and dedication as you stamp and organize thousands of sheets of music and dozens of scores each year, and organize music into an incredibly helpful reference ledger. And I'm inspired by members like Viola, Sue, Jean, Linda, Michelle, and Tim, Margaret, and Ricardo, and countless other New Horizons band members who've shared their stories of courage in the face of very tough and challenging times, and how music and their band friends made it possible to find a measure of joy and hope for them, and in fact for all our members in New Horizons. New Horizons band means meeting new people, learning a new challenging skill, leaving your work and stress at the door as you enter a music space where friendships are made. We leave our identities as an accountant, a specialist, or a father, a wife, at the door, and we become our alter egos, a saxophonist, a bass player, a percussionist, or a flautist. And as we leave the rehearsal space, we're wearing our new personas and a big, huge smile, which we carry back home. So many caring leaders here in one room, caring for others and showing respect for hard work and truth doesn't seem to be on trend these days. And there are many so-called leaders who are driven by social media, metrics, and fear. And they delight in public spectacle rather than honest research and hard work. Associates and friends are bought, sold, and fired publicly. And more than ever, we need true leaders who demonstrate a strong desire to help, to nurture, and to work hard to make our world a better place. Ottawa is a jewel of a city, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our councillors and Mayor Watson for the high standards that you uphold every day, and for your hard work and dedication to making Ottawa a greener, cleaner, more accessible, healthy, and culture-filled city for all our citizens, and for this award, which recognizes community building. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. I know those words came from the heart, and it was nice to have so many of your family and friends and colleagues here to celebrate your incredible work. Roll call, please, Madam Deputy Clerk.
Conseiller Manette.
Present.
Councillor Middick, Councillor Harder, Councillor Wilkinson.
Present.
Councillor El Shantiri.
Present.
Councillor Kadri.
Present.
Councillor Taylor.
Here.
Councillor Shirelli.
Here.
Councillor Eglai.
Here.
Councillor Deans.
Here.
Councillor Tierney.
Present.
Conseiller Fleury.
See.
Councillor Nussbaum.
Here.
Councillor McKenney.
Present.
Councillor Leeper.
Ici.
Councillor Brockington.
Here.
Councillor Chernyshenko.
Present.
Conseiller Cloutier.
Present.
Conseiller Blais.
Ici.
Councillor Derouse.
Here.
Councillor Moffat.
Here.
Councillor Kakish.
Present.
Councillor Hubley.
Here.
Mayor Watson.
Ici.
Le quorum est tient, Monsieur le Maire.
You have the quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Son de procès verbal, confirmation of minutes from the regular meeting of the 26th of September 2018. Carried. A declaration of interests, including those originally arising from prior meetings. Déclaration de conflit d'intérêt. None. Communications as presented. Regrets, Councillor Middick and Councillor Harder advise they'll be absent from the council meeting of the 10th of October. Councillor Harder is speaking at Smart City Expo in Toronto. Motion to introduce reports. Motion portant présentation de rapport. Conseiller Derouse, seconded by Councillor Wilkinson.
That Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee Report 38, Planning Committee Report 70, Transportation Committee 34, and the reports from the City Clerk and Solicitor's Office entitled Status Update, Council Inquiry and Motions for the period ending October 5th, 2018, and Summary of Oral and Written Public Submissions for items subject to the Planning Act explanation requirements at the City Council meeting of September 26, 2018 be received and considered, and that the rules of procedure be suspended to receive and consider items 1, 2, and 8 of Planning Committee Report 71. Suspension of the rules is being requested as the next regular council meeting is not scheduled until November, and that pursuant to subsection 35.5 of Procedure Bylaw 2016-37, council receive and consider items 3 to 7 of Planning Committee Report 71.
On the motion by Councillor Derousse, carried. Adopté. Report, City Clerk and Solicitor, Greffier Municipal, Council inquiries and motions for the period ending October 5th. Demande de renseignement pour la période terminée.
Inquiries for the period ending October 5th, 2018.
Rapport des comités, Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee Report number 38, rapport numéro 38 du Comité de l'Agriculture et des Affaires Rurales. Item number 2, zoning bylaw amendment 5651 First Line Road. Modification au règlement de zonage 5651 chemin First Line. Carried. Planning Committee Report number 70, rapport numéro 70 du Comité de l'Urbanisme. Renovation of original house and construction of a rear addition at 119 York Street. Rénovation de la maison originaire, construction d'un extérieur au 119 York. Oh, is it a quick question? Okay, do you want to ask it now?
Yeah. I guess to Mr. Willis on the, so there's two elements that I'm concerned and confused. So obviously we'll have an opportunity to review site plan. I know that they're investing in the heritage property itself, but there are two elements that are still, oh, Mr. Curie. There are two elements that are still outstanding. One, which is the rear yard step back, which I believe needs to go to a minor variance. So can you explain to me how we go from today's review to site plan and how that plays in? And the second one, which is the proponent was believed to be Patagonia, and my understanding is that the agent is acting on behalf of Patagonia. So in that context, does that factor into any of the review that's underway that it might not be that retailer?
So, Mayor, the councillor is correct. There are active Committee of Adjustment applications. Those are before the committee later in the month, I believe. Should they not be successful in their minor variance applications, they would be required to amend their heritage permit, and that would be back before Built Heritage Subcommittee. Should they be successful, then the heritage permit that council would be issuing today would be valid. As for your second question, Councillor, I'm aware that it is Patagonia that does own the property and continues to actively pursue the development on the site. Should it be a new owner that comes in, of course we would look to them to discuss whether they continue to want to pursue this development concept or another development concept.
Thank you.
Okay, excuse me, on the report as presented. Carried. Adopté. Merci. Item number 4, numéro 4, zoning bylaw amendment, part of 401 and part of 411 Corkstown Road. Modification au règlement de zonage, partie de 401 et de 411 chemin Corkstown. Carried. Item 5, settlement of some appeals to OPA 150, règlement de certains appels relatifs à la MPO 150. Carried. Dissent by Councillor Shirelli. Planning Committee Report number 71, rapport numéro 71 du Comité de l'Urbanisme, application to demolish McGee House, 1119 Wellington, demande de démolition de la Maison McGee. Carried. Item 7, application to construct a new building at 227 Mackay Street, demande de construction de nouveaux bâtiments au 227 rue Mackay. Carried. Item number 8, zoning bylaw amendment, 770 Somerset Street West and 13 Le Breton Street North. Modification au règlement de zonage 770 rue Somerset West et le 13 rue Le Breton Nord. Carried. Item 9, zoning bylaw amendment, 174 Forward Avenue. Modification au règlement de zonage 174 Avenue Forward. Carried. Item number 10, zoning bylaw amendment, 348 Whitby Avenue and 364 Churchill Avenue North. modification au règlement de zonage 348 Avenue Whitby et 364 Avenue Churchill Nord. Carried? Very busy in your ward, Councillor, today. Item number 11, zoning bylaw amendment 3490 Innis Road, modification au règlement de zonage 3490 Innis. Carried. Adopté. Item number 12, zoning bylaw amendment 467 Terry Fox Drive, modification au règlement de zonage 467 Promenade Terry Fox. Carried. Item number 13, a settlement of appeal 10 to official plan amendment 180, règlement de l'appel 10 relatif à la modification au plan officiel 180. Adopté. Carried. Transportation Committee Report number 34, rapport numéro 34 du Comité des Transports. Item 14, interactive mapping tools, identifying opportunities to improve cycling infrastructure. Received. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the bulk consent agenda this time? No. On the bulk consent agenda as presented. Carried. Disposition of items approved by committees under delegated authority suite des données des articles ratifiés par les comités en vertu de pouvoirs délégués. The Council received the list of items approved by committees under delegated authority attached document 1. Carried. Motion to adopt reports. Motion portant adoption de rapport. Councillor DeRuse, please. Seconded by Councillor Wilkinson.
That the Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee Report 38, Planning Committee Reports 70 and 71, Transportation Committee 34, and the reports from the City Clerk and the Solicitor's Office entitled Status Update, Council Inquiries and Motions for the period ending October 5, 2018, and summary of oral and written public submission for items subject to the Planning Act explanation requirements at the City Council meeting of September 26, 2018 be received and adopted as amended.
Carried. Adopté. Motions of which notice have been previously given, motion dont avis a été donné entièrement. There is now a revised motion by Councillor Leeper that has been circulated, and it's seconded now by Councillor Tierney. Councillor Harder still supports the motion, but she's not here, obviously, to second it. So, Councillor Leeper, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a interim control bylaw that would freeze pending study triplexes that require variances in a particular neighborhood of Westboro or very large triplexes, whereas the Westboro neighborhood is undergoing significant intensification, both with the approval of high-rises proximate to transit and through the replacement of detached dwellings through severances and infill of new development, and whereas there are community concerns regarding the rates and extent of infill and redevelopment in the Westboro area, and whereas concerns have been immediately expressed relating to applications that have been filed with the Committee of Adjustment to allow triplex dwellings on lots that require variances to the performance standards for that particular use, and whereas concerns are related to development proposals that seek to allow for buildings that maximize the floor area of the structure in a manner that is out of scale with the context of the established community, and whereas there is community concern that the resulting triplexes and or larger buildings are not compatible with the existing character of the community, therefore be it resolved that the Planning, Infrastructure and Economic Development Department undertake a study pursuant to Section 38 of the Planning Act in respect to the land use policies associated with triplex dwellings and dwellings that are over 400 square meters in gross floor area within the area described below, and assess the suitability and compatibility of these housing typologies in the context of intensification within the study area, and be it further resolved that Council enact an interim control bylaw as per Section 38 of the Planning Act to apply to the residential R3R zone in Westboro within the area defined on the maps attached to this motion, and defined as within the lands bounded by Golden Avenue to the west, Byron Avenue to the north, Tweedsmuir Avenue to the east, and Dovercourt Avenue to the south, with the interim control bylaw setting out the following prohibitions. 1, for all lands zoned R3R and located only within Area A on Appendix 1 to this bylaw, the following applies. No 3-unit dwelling may exceed a gross floor area of 400 square meters. B, no 3-unit dwellings are permitted that do not meet the performance standards of the current zoning.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or wish to speak on the matter? No. On the motion, carried. Adopté. Next is motions requiring suspension of the rules of procedure. Motion exigeant la suspension des règles de procédure. Councillor Deans, seconded by Councillor Eglis. I understand, Councillor Deans, a technical amendment that's required. So on suspension, carried. Councillor Deans, please.
I need a mic. I don't. Is it on? Yeah. Okay. Whereas 899, 901, and 903 Aegis Drive front on a portion of Aegis Drive that has been formally dedicated as a public road, and whereas a portion of Aegis Drive was acquired by purchase from the National Capital Commission, and whereas while there is delegated authority to list a bylaw on the agenda of Council for dedication as a public road, lands acquired through the development approval process, there is not delegated authority to list a bylaw for dedication lands acquired through purchase, and whereas the sale of 899, 901, and 903 Aegis Road is contingent of such parcels fronting on a public road. Therefore, be it resolved that a bylaw entitled A Bylaw of the City of Ottawa to establish certain lands as common and public highway and assume it for public use, Aegis Drive, to dedicate as a public highway the lands shown on the sketch attached to this motion be added to the list of bylaws to be enacted at this council meeting. And Mr. Mayor, the motion states the city has approved the sale of the municipal land on Aegis Drive. That sale is scheduled to close in November. As part of that purchase agreement, the parcel must be fronting on a public road, and currently there is a small piece of traveled road that has not been designated as such. We require a bylaw to do so, and staff do not currently have the delegated authority to enact the bylaw for this purpose. In order to meet timelines of the sale, this motion is asking that Council enact a bylaw today to dedicate the parcel shown as a public highway.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions on the motion? Carried. Next is a motion by Councillor Leeper, seconded by myself, with respect to the mural on Sterling Avenue. On suspension of the rules. Carried. Councillor Leeper will introduce the motion. I have a direction to staff afterwards. Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor. You and I both worked fairly quickly over the weekend when we heard that a mural was ordered to be taken down on the side of a residential building. And so I'm bringing this motion today that the rules of procedure be suspended in order, whereas a mural on a residential property is not permitted by Section 140, subsection 2 of the Permanent Signs on Property Bylaw 2016-326, and whereas the owner of 118 Sterling Avenue commissioned the artist Arpy to paint a mural scene that has achieved wide acclaim and is a positive addition to the streetscape, and whereas Council has approved several murals in the same vicinity that have contributed to the area's appeal and enhanced its arts-friendly reputation, and whereas the mural has attracted a complaint and is the subject of an outstanding enforcement action, therefore be it resolved that Council approve an exemption to Section 142 and 143 of the Permanent Signs on Property Bylaw 2016-326 as amended to permit a mural on a residential building in a residential zone located on the south wall at 118 Sterling Avenue facing Armstrong Street, and 2, allow this request beyond the general application process for minor variances found in the delegation of authority provisions bylaw 2016-326.
Right. So this is an interesting situation, how I got involved, and I was just talking to Councillor Leeper about this. I was coming from the West End. I think I was on my way to Susie Q Donuts, of all places, which I spend too much time at, and stopped at the stop sign, and I saw Stu Mills from CBC standing out there, and I said, "Hi, Stu," and he said, "Hi, what do you think of this mural?" I was in my car. I said, "It's nice," and he said, "Well, that's the owner over there. The city's going to ask to be taken down." And so I started chatting with the owner. I thought it was the artist I was speaking with at first, and I thought she'd just gone up and painted a mural on someone else's property, but it was her property. And I think what we've tried to do over the last couple of years is really use art as a selling point of our city to brighten it up. The murals under the 417, and we see murals in different parts of the community. I know in Councillor Fleury we did a great unveiling there. You've had a couple done in your community. So I think this is a reasonable request, and what my direction to staff is that as part of the next signs bylaw review that is currently underway, staff review the process for exemptions to the permanent signs and private property bylaw, allowing murals on residential buildings in a residential zone, and that this process be as easy as possible for homeowners while still respecting the character of the neighborhood. So I think there's going to have to be some parameters of some sort, but we don't want to discourage brightening up an area. And this particular house, I think, had been the subject of graffiti that was always being rubbed off, and that's quite a cost to the homeowner as well. So Councillor Chernyshenko, I believe, has a comment.
Thank you. I believe you covered it towards the end of your remarks, but I suppose the question to staff quite simply is, in a neighborhood, but particularly on the main street in the Glebe and in Old Ottawa South, we have quite a number of murals, and they have been both community building projects and have become an attraction to the district. However, residential buildings have always been treated quite differently than that. One cannot simply go and paint a mural or ask someone to paint a mural on your building. Now the mayor's given some direction, so it's not quite simply open season. Anyone can go and paint anything on their building. Do you have any thoughts in advance, or is it too early to ask about how we would offer some kind of, we are always hearing about not changing the character of the neighborhood when it comes to the size and the design of the building itself. Have you any initial thoughts on how you would approach doing this with murals?
Mr. Mayor, I think the comments that both you and the councillors have stated are consistent. We do want to encourage where we can the beautification and also the vitality of neighborhoods and supporting the arts through many of our initiatives. I think what we'd be looking for right now is to ensure that they're not used for commercial purposes. That's the principal objection that the bylaw was originally set up for. We don't want people doing advertising in residential neighborhoods. So I think if we calibrate it to reasonable size and not advertising, then we probably can come up with address the direction the mayor's asked.
Thanks, and I definitely don't want to be a downer on this, but as a lover of art myself, but then my art isn't the same as everybody else's art, so that's really, I think, the challenge that we may find ourselves in, is somebody's definition of beauty may not necessarily be the neighbor's, and so we will certainly want some kind of a process to deal with that, but in general, I like this idea. Thank you.
Great. Okay. On the motion? Carried. Thank you. And the direction the staff is presented. Are there any other motions requiring suspension of the rules of procedure? Est-ce qu'il y a des autres motions exigeant la suspension des règles de procédure? Nope. Notice of the motion for consideration of a subsequent meeting. I have none in front of me. Motion to introduce bylaws. Motion portant présentation de règlement. Councillor DeRose, please.
That the bylaws listed on the agenda under motion to introduce bylaws, 3 readings, be read and passed, and that the bylaw entitled a bylaw of the City of Ottawa to establish certain lands as common and public highway and assume it for public use, Asia's Drive, be read and passed.
Carried. Confirmation bylaw, règlement de ratification. Councillor DeRose, seconded by Councillor Wilkinson, please.
That the following bylaw be read and passed to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting of October 10, 2018.
Carried. Adopté. We have 3 written inquiries. First is from myself and Councillor Eglai. Councillor Eglai, if you'd like to read it out, please.
Due to the significant tree damage resulting from the recent windstorm and tornado events, it is anticipated that there will be a need for stump grinding, including on private property and associated costs for that grinding. Whereas the province has a disaster recovery assistance for Ontarians program that provides financial assistance following natural disasters and has indicated its willingness to provide additional resources to assist in recovery. Staff are aware that not all expenses from the windstorm and tornado damage are covered by the DRAO program, by private insurance or under the purview of the city. The city has sought additional funding from the province to help support tree removal on private and commercial properties in scenarios such as these. What options are available to assist residential and commercial property owners to grind stumps in areas impacted by the recent tornado?
Okay, thank you. That will go to staff. Next is also from Councillor Eglai, please.
And the damages caused to the city, and noting that the city does hold an annual emergency preparedness event, can staff please advise of the following? 1, what is the date of the emergency preparedness week for Ottawa in 2019? 2, what information and events would the city typically provide during this week? How is this information shared with residents both during this week and throughout the year? What type of information is shared? Does this information include how the city will communicate with residents during the time of a disaster? And 3, are any additional materials or information going to be provided for the 2019 event as a result of the impact of the tornado? If yes, what are they?
Okay, thank you very much. And our final written inquiry is from Councillor Wilkinson on crossing guards.
So this is about crossing guards. The City of Ottawa provides crossing guards for children going to school at intersections that meet the city's warrants to ensure the safety of young children walking to school. At this time, there are 15 locations, 9 new locations, and 6 where a second guard is needed that have been reviewed and meet the warrants. They have not been provided, however, as there is no funding available for additional crossing guards in the 2018 budget. City staff have indicated that the present council cannot approve them as it cannot pre-commit funds for the 2019 budget, which will be dealt with by the new council in the first quarter of 2019. The delay until that time, together with the time it takes to find additional guards, would mean that none of these 15 crossing guards would be provided until September 2019. Can city staff advise what recommended options are for council to fund these outstanding crossing guard positions and any other outstanding crossing guard positions across the city where warrants have been met, including the ability to pre-commit funding from the 2019 budget? It's requested this information be provided to the new council in December 2018 so that council could make a decision on whether to provide for these guards early in 2019 for those locations that have met the warrants.
Great, thank you very much. Councillor Derouze, adjournment, please.
Que les délibérations du Conseil du 10 octobre
that the proceedings of City Council meeting of October 10, 2018 be adjourned.